Avengers! Assemble.
And what's going on, everybody? It is Wednesday night. It is fight night. You know what time it is. It's time for the comic book fight. Welcome, everybody, to the channel. This is the first time you're watching comic book fight. This is going to be a good one. We got some great fighters lined up. We're going to bring them out in a few minutes. But before we do that, I want you to hit that like, hit that subscribe. And we're going to say what's up to people in the chat in a second. But it's going to be a great fight. As you already saw, the battle, the clash. This is going to be the clash of the 10-1-1. We're bringing them out now. It's going to be Digger Jim versus Gary B, the casual comic guy. And there they are. They are my fighters. Let me put them right where they're supposed to go. What's going on, my guys?
I'm excited. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on. Get some background music here playing there. Put a little low in the background because we got to get a fight here. So, Digger Jim, we were hanging out earlier. You were talking some smack to Gary B.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of smack, right? Gary B, you got any rebuttals for that? any rebuttals for the smack talk that
the only way smack talk is effective is if the person that's being smack talk is actually susceptible to it.
Oh,
I'm curious to it.
We're going to find out today, right? So before we get started, let's go and say what's up to the guys in the chat, starting with our boy Las Cruces is in the house. Las Cruces, you know what you get. You're going to get yourself a nice little, I lose it all the time. All the time I lose it. Where is it? Where is my Las Cruces sound effect? There it is. Woo-hoo! And there's the, that was the
hooray.
There you go.
Woo-hoo and not the hooray.
Yeah.
There's the woohoo. The woohoo's right there. And there's our woohoo. All right. And then, of course, he's saying, what's up from Nuevo Mexico? Because that's what we say it here. We say Nuevo Mexico here. Our boy Comiverse is in the house. What's going on, Tone? Tone. Cliff, my boy, Cliff on Comics. Trigger Jim. Let's do it. You got your trigger ready? You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Wepa. There you go, a little wepa action there. Aurelis Delgado's in the house. Hey, Aurelis, how you doing? Also, we got White Tiger Cool Calm Collection.
G, what's up?
Put up your dukes. Put up your dukes and let's get it on. Let's see, well, who else is here? Frog Brawler's also in the house. He's ready for a fight. My boy Roscoe, he was in the last one. If you guys haven't checked, I don't know if you guys had a chance to check out the previous fights, but Roscoe,
I've seen the Cliff and C Bizzle one.
Oh, you got to check out the Roscoe with Phil's Treehouse.
Yeah, I'll check that one out.
That was a pretty good one as well. So definitely worth checking out. We got Rich Comic Caps Collectible in the house.
Rich.
Hey yo, what's going on, Rich? My man. All right, let's see, and that's our chat group. So. Before we get started, we're going to talk a little bit about the rules so you guys know how to have your fight. And the rules are pretty simple as I pull them up here. All right, you get 4 rounds, right? Each fighter gets a pick. So round 1 and round 2, you will each have a pick and you'll do your piece, and there's going to be a third round. The third round set by the YouTube poll, which is going to be a really good one because it's been winning by a landslide, and there's going to be a final round. Final round is going to be 5 sudden death questions that are going to be provided to us by the chat. So if you're in the chat, you're going to provide the questions. All right, I'm going to pick them out. Each fighter gets a minute to present their pick. Their opponent has a minute to rebuttal, and then afterwards is when we get the free-for-all discussion fight where fighters engage in war. Each fighter has 1 minute closing statements, and the winner for each round is selected by the live stream viewers. So that's the rules. All right, Digger Jim, are you ready?
I guess so.
Gary B, are you ready?
Yeah, look at Rich, no pulling hair, no problem with us, right? Jim?
Yeah, none there. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
So Miles is gonna call it right now.
Let's get it on.
So we're gonna get the fight going, right? So our first round was provided to us by Gary B. So Gary B, you're going to be the first person that's going to give us our fight.
Sure.
And the first round is going to be who is the strongest under the radar hero. That's going to be the topic. Who is the strongest? So Gary B, you're getting the hot seat now. And you're going to have 1 minute. Oh, the timer just went off. You have 1 minute to present your topic. And then Diggergen, you get a minute to do your rebuttal. So Gary, start it off.
All right, so my under the radar hero for most powerful hero is none other than one of Marvel's first female lead-ins for the universe, and that's Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. She is an absolute powerhouse. She has she can bend light waves, obviously, to turn invisible, but she has psychokinetic. She can form bubbles. She can form in air bubble in your body and expand it. She can kill you that way. She can put it around you and suffocate you. She can levitate you. Her powers are a little OP. No one realizes it, but once Sue Storm is mad and she decides to take action, she can take out A-listers like the Hulk just by depriving them of oxygen or by just putting a little air bubble and expanding it in their brain.
All right, there you have it. Sue Storm, that is the pick from Gary B. Digger Jim, you're up. Who's your guy?
My guy is not Marvel. It's DC. It's Plastic Man. And guys, I'm telling you right now, don't underestimate Plastic Man. If you have seen the Injustice animation series, it shows you right there. He can turn basically into just about any object. And he could, the only thing that really harms him, he's pretty much invulnerable to any projectile fire. And the only thing that harms him is like really, really strong heat could make him liquid. But he can take you out just by getting inside your body and expanding it. He does that with an Amazo robot in the show. Yeah, he started off as kind of a jokester. DC did it that way. But man, if he got really pissed, he'd be a threat for sure. I wouldn't want to mess with him. He could take. I think he took out Flash in one of the other shows, so he's no joke.
All right, there you have it, guys. It is now time for you to duke it out. I go down here. All right, go for it. Start your fights.
I think Plastic Man's biggest unserved power is just being a bitch of the universe, right?
Wow.
Could be. And again, Sue Storm's the same way. I mean, dude, man, she always is like fainting in all the cartoons or anything.
She would take an air bubble, she would put it around his little plastic ass and make a super ball out of him and bounce him into another universe.
Unless he expands out and she has she doesn't have the willpower to hold it long enough. That's the problem. You say, oh, she'll put an air bubble around Hulk, but if Hulk punches, she's done.
She didn't put it around his fist. She put it around his face. She took away his oxygen. Plastic Man doesn't even need it. She would just make a little super ball out of him and bounce him into another universe and forget all about him.
I'm just telling you, man. I mean, Plastic Man, with the exception of Johnny Storm, I think he could take them all out.
You're forgetting that Sue already knows how to deal with an elastic dude. She's got the grounds covered.
Yeah, there's something there.
That is not new territory for Sue. She knows how to handle that. And this dude doesn't have the intellect to read Richards, so he's already batting below 500, just approaching her.
But when you think about Plastic Man,
out-leagued.
So Plastic Man and Mr. Fantastic have similar chemistry as far as their biology goes. Digger Jim, how is Plastic Man better than Mr. Fantastic if that's the case? Since we got
Mr. Fantastic cannot form into objects, and he also has a limitation. He's sort of more like DC's elongated man. Power. You know, he can't go but so far before he reaches a limit. And Plastic Man has a lot longer before he reaches any type of limit. I just think that he's underrated. I'm telling you, if you look back into history, they treat him like a joke. But in the end, if he gets really pissed and just says, screw it, I'm done, he will start taking people out.
Right,
okay.
Yeah, those unconscious hobos in the alley don't stand a chance against.
Yeah. The only thing Sue's got for him is she gave birth to Franklin Richards, who actually is a powerhouse.
So why is Sue Storm? I mean, she's known as the Invisible Woman. How is her powers as being invisibility so underrated in that way? You mentioned some
It's
of
not
it
the
in your.
invisibility that's underrated. It's the strength of her force, of her thought projections, her force bubbles. She can levitate. Like I said, if she thinks it, she can just create the smallest bubble inside your body anywhere she wants and just expand it, and you're done. It just tears you apart.
But she's a
She's
saint, according to White Tiger.
Well, my guy used to,
And she also did like the Phoenix thing too, right? She has her bad persona, Malice.
Yeah.
She has her Phoenix dark side, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Malice.
So two of the most powerful women in the Marvel universe, and they both got their dark side characters.
Leave the mothers out of this.
And I think if Plastic Man was fighting Sue, there'd be one part of him that's not elasticy.
We got DVH also in the house. What's up, DVH?
Sue Storm. Thing is,
Wow.
I like Sue Storm, but I just don't think she it's almost like she doesn't have the strength to all those things you're saying are exactly true, but she doesn't have the strength to hold it. Like if she's trying to stay invisible and project her force bubble, can't do it. She can't do it.
Well, she doesn't. If she's using her force bubble, she doesn't have to stay invisible. That's just to get the drop.
Yeah.
Or that's to infiltrate too.
I'm just saying, it seems like every time you read her in comics, they put limitations on her. And I don't know why, other than maybe Marvel was being sexist, but every single time, except when she's defending her baby.
Yeah,
that's when it's like.
But she's one of those, she's a mama, right?
Right.
And when a mama gets tough, doesn't she? But in Plastic Man's case, wasn't he a criminal?
He was a criminal.
He could fight dirty, I take it.
Well,
but she may not.
Yeah, he was a criminal, but he was a burglar. He wasn't really a arch villain. And then his whole origin story was they pretty much left him to die. His people did, and then he was saved by, the old series was that he was saved by a monk and nursed back to health and said, maybe I should need to go to the good side of things because I'm not doing good on the bad side of things.
Right, because he kept getting his ass whooped.
Oh!
On a side note, though, Jim, I do like Plastic Man.
Doesn't matter what your name is.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what.
All right, guys. So let's get our final messages, starting with Gary. Since Gary, this is your character. You started this, your topic. Tell me why Sue Storm is your pick. While you guys do that, chat, you guys get to pick. So you start thinking about who you think your pick's going to be. So, Gary, go ahead.
One, she's a proven leader. She's family first. She's protective, and all the other points I already made. I just we're going to reiterate the same things. Her invisibility is stealth, and she can get the drop on you. Plus, she has powers that are on the omnipotent side of things with the force bubbles, the shrinking of the air around you, the depriving you of oxygen, being able to put a bubble around you and levitate you anywhere she wants. She can shoot you out to space in a second and just open it there and let you freeze with no oxygen. And she could just burst you from the inside anytime she wants. So she's a threat on very many different levels.
Well,
I don't even need the full minute. You
don't even need it. That's it. It's over for you. All right. So,
I'm going to say this. If you go back and do some research, many a comic book writer and artist love Plastic Man. Mark Waid. There are different different people in the community that currently work and have worked that said Plastic Man is their favorite. That's why they always want to put him in a DC Justice League series, because they think he's a character that they haven't really explored. He's underrated. I mean, and when they do bring him in, sometimes he's just a lightweight humor, but every once in a while, like I'm going to reference that Injustice again, he just says, screw it. I'm done waiting. I'm done playing around. I'm getting in the game. And he just, when they couldn't take out that Amazo robot, he finished it at the end there and just said, let me show you how it's done. Crawled right up in there and pow. Finito. That's it. I don't have anything else to say.
All right, guys. So, with that said, it's now time for you guys to vote. So, people in the chat, let me know who had the best pick. Was it Gary B, the casual comic guy with Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, or are we going with Digger Jim with Plastic Man? I like both of them. Like, I'm with Gary where it comes to Sue is, when we talk about underrated, I really do think Sue Storm is underrated, right? That's my personal opinion. But I feel the same way about Plastic Man. Plastic Man, even though he's used for comic relief, he, when he gets into that dark side of things, he could be one of the toughest guys. And in fact, there's been polls showcasing him being the toughest member of the Justice League. But the battle's not between the Justice League and Plastic Man. The battle here is between the Plastic Man and Sue Storm.
He's so powerful, they still don't use him for anything.
Yeah.
His phone's not ringing.
Right.
But he's the kind of guy that had his own TV series, right? So, it's one of those things where I look at it like this guy had his own TV series. So he's popular enough, I would say. Is actually so it looks where we're getting some people here. Oh, it's a tight one right now because we're seeing from Cali Comics, he's saying Plastic Man's motto is at least I'm not the elongated man, which is
not
true.
a vote for Plastic Man.
That's not a vote. That's not. But he did reiterate, I feel like Sue is properly rated and Plastic Man is actually underrated. So that's a vote for Plastic Man. Tiger is saying Sue. So we got 1 for 1 here. Frog Brawl is also in the house. Tough call. Both arguments are good, but my vote goes to Jim. Wow. Because I don't think Storm is as underrated as Plastic Man. So really good points here that are not as underrated. Like Invisible Woman turns the heads of Namor.
So for underrated, it's got to be somebody nobody cares enough about to write.
I don't know. You gotta go with whatever. They're not giving him a chance, is what it is.
You got to go with what the community says. Whatever the community says is what we're going with, right? I'm with you. I think Sue is underrated because she's not, as far as the Fantastic Four goes. I think up to recently is when they're starting to say that she's the most powerful.
Well, and that's her power too, right? She doesn't have to show all the time. She can just be in reserve, and when it's needed, she's there. Sue's not a show off. Sue's not flashy. Sue is purposeful.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, we're right now we're tied. So whoever gives me that last one. So if you guys haven't voted, who your pick is, we got 8 people watching right now. Make your pick. All right. Yeah, there he goes. Phil's Treehouse. He just said, "Put him up. Put him up." That's not an answer. Well, we do that, Gary.
Don't vote Sue Storm. You don't like the community.
To that statement,
yeah.
There was one in 2019, which was a good one.
Yeah. Jim, sorry.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So,
okay, Jim, I think you're going to get me on the next one because on your topic, mine's just based on pure love. It's not based. I mean, that could go so many ways, and I don't. Mine's going to stand a chance against yours.
Oh, I know the answers of the other ones, so it's good. I would tell you right now, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be tough. But the winner for this one, 3-2. The winner is our good pal, none other than. Let's see if I can get this right. I'm trying to do this right. Gary B wins it 3-2. DVH, you got it.
I always knew that DVH was a proper gentleman.
So there you have it. So Gary B gets the first round. That was a tough one, dude.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this. When people because what ends up happening is that you guys are giving me your answers without knowing each other's answer. You know the question, but you don't know the answer. And it's so much fun when I see this and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good fight.
I came on here to be friendly and I just felt totally attacked that whole time by Jim.
See what I deal with every Thursday night on a regular basis? What a diva. Jesus.
Look at that. In Avengers 300, Sue threatened to whip the Avengers' butt if they woke up Franklin.
I believe that.
So right now, Joe, who's winning, Gary has won. It has 1 point right now. We're on round 1. So now we're going to do round 2. But before we do that, Gary, what's going on in the Gary B Casual Comic Guys channel?
Oh, let's see. This busy week for me. So Saturday morning, I will be on Philtastic Comics and More in art on his channel at 11. Right after his channel, I'll be live on my channel with Torsten, the Varangian Vigilante, once again, and we'll be discussing top 5 artists we each want to see work on some Conan stories over at Titan Comics. So we got that coming up, and then next week I have we have Dave Bratton doing the first ever all action figure 10-1-1.
Nice.
Oh, cool. That's going to be awesome.
That's happening. And then we are followed up by J2 from the low grades on Thursday.
It sounds like a very busy
A lot
couple of
coming
weeks. Awesome. All right. We're going to do round 2 now. Round 2, it was done by Digger Jim. Digger Jim, let's take a look at what is the round 2 question. Round 2, oh my goodness, this is going to be a good one. I'm going to love this one. This one is, who is the best artist of the Bronze Age? So we're talking about within the 70s, maybe we could count the early 80s there, but predominantly the 70s. So with that said, Digger Jim, you get the hot seat because this is your question. And Digger Jim, let us know who it is.
Okay. Well, like they say in the Highlander movie, there can be only one, and that is George Perez. George Perez, my guy, has to be hands down the best artist of that time period. The man took every inch of a cover and used it all the way around. He did so many wraparound covers that it was ridiculous. And his attention to detail and how he expressed different characters were bar none. It has to be in the top 10. He has to be in the top 5. But for me, he'll always be my favorite. He got me to read Teen Titans. I would have never picked up Teen Titans if, when it first came out, if he hadn't been doing that art. He brought me into a whole book I would have never read. What can you say about that other than he's the best?
Awesome. All right. So that takes up your time. So George Perez is Digger Jim's pick. Gary, it's your time. Who are you countering with?
I am countering with John Buscema. All right, because John Buscema was everything. Him and Roy Thomas were everything to me in comics. And it's because of them that I have the love I do for the Robert E. Howard stories. Their work, along with Barry Windsor Smith's, led me into Conan. And you just had, and not only did he do that, he did the Avengers. He did How to Draw Comics. He did a whole series on art lessons. And he worked on Tarzan. He worked on Miss Marvel. He worked on Wolverine. He worked on the whole staple of Marvel Comics. Now in this round, which is fun, you got She-Hulk.
Right.
You got
he brought artillery here. Look at that.
Lord,
right.
yeah.
You got him on the Treasuries. But this round, there's no losers this round. Those are 2 exceptional artists who fathered in comics and made it all special for all of us as readers.
Right.
Right. I agree with both of you, but there must only be one winner, and it's time for a fight. So let's do it. It's going to be a tough one, but go for the fight.
Well, this was not one that you can fight about.
I was just going to say, this is one where we just have to respect the people we're talking about.
Right.
Without them, we're probably not here today, right, Jim?
Right. I'm definitely. I'm telling you that George Perez was one that turned me on more. His art. I'm a big believer in the comic book art. A lot of times over story. The story can be just plain, but if the art is carrying it and showing me, what's going on, and he did that. If you look on a panel on the inside of a lot of his books, they're just amazing. And I'm with Gary.
And that's the thing with these artists, right? Like with John Buscema, I wasn't just reading Conan. I was living in his world that John Byrne created. Not John Byrne. I was reading the comments. Another great artist, though, and creator. But that John Buscema created, like, he took you to an age, and he took you to a world that you couldn't that was made up and made you believe you were there.
Right.
Just amazing.
And he
just,
did
I don't
do
know.
look, everything's Gary's saying is true. I'm not going to trash talk John Buscema. Are you kidding me? That
Right,
how
just like
to
I'm
draw
not-
superhero book. I don't know any kid that didn't want that book. They were like freaking out, going, "I got to see if I can draw as good." Of course, we sucked at it. We could look at it all day and never draw as good as him. But you still wanted to do it. But my
Right.
heart will always be with George Perez. That's probably going to be one of my biggest disappointment. Is never actually taking the time to see him. He came to Baltimore a couple of times, and I miss seeing him, miss getting anything signed by him, interacting with him, and for him not to be here anymore, that part will always be a big hole missing in my heart as far as collecting these books.
Right, and my guy died early too.
Yeah. So it's just, he did so much. I mean, he did Superman, Justice League, and he crossed. He did
legacy creators.
Yeah.
So it's hard to argue the legacy both men have left behind, right? Both men have left behind a legacy. Now, when I have to think about the Bronze Age, my answer is which one of those two stood up, like was really on top. I would say George Perez started in the Bronze Age, but he might have gotten better as he moved on in his career with the Copper Age, right? Where Buscema was that's his strong point. Now, I'm not trying to pick one over the other, but in Buscema's case, he was more predominant in the 70s and the 80s. He was dwindling down, I'll say, in the 80s, but it was still good. And they're still and people look up to this guy. I think Buscema, his legacy is that he was one of the early guys, right? So one of the names that's floating here, and I know who was it that mentioned him? White Adams. Tiger, Neil Adams. Neil Adams. Whew, if you really want to throw Bronze Age, I will throw Neil Adams to that hat. He is just as important as these guys were during that time.
Absolutely. That's
so
the great thing about the art question. There's really no bad pick here.
No, it's not a bad pick. But that's how a fight works, right? That's the debate. Who is the best artist? The question is, who's the best artist of the Bronze Age? Right. So, with that being said, you have to take to account what is their body of work during that time period, and which one stands the test of time during that time period. So, with that said, we're gonna go back. We're gonna do our closing arguments. Digger Jim, it was yours. So you get to start it off. So one more time, explain to me why George Perez wins, in your mind, the Bronze Age.
I'm just going to regurgitate everything I said before. The man uses the whole page. And when he does, look in the backgrounds of some of the books that he's done. The characters are in the forefront of the page, and the background is detailed. It's not like it is today. It's not, any of this, we're just going to put in shading here. No, he's going to have cities if you're in a city. He's going to have mountains if you're in the mountains. He's going to have detailed scenery in the background, which you don't get today. They just put a lot of shading in, and then they have the character right there. You're just not going to see that. And he also was able to churn out a book pretty decent at a pretty decent rate. I think that was part of what drew him to to Marvel, saying, hey, we could use somebody like that. That's why he did Avengers. That's why, he did covers for all different types.
All right. With that said, Gary, defend John Buscema.
All right. Well, John Buscema is largely known as the Conan man, right? And he's called Big John Buscema for a reason. But he was so instrumental and so important to those years at Marvel. He was part of their building block. He worked on all their event titles, right? He did Avengers, Submariner, Thor, Fantastic Four. If it was a book that Marvel put out, John Buscema had a run on it just about. He helped launch the Savage She-Hulk. He just was an all-consuming force working on all these Marvel titles. And a lot of people don't even realize that some of their favorite covers, some of their favorite issues are all John Buscema penned. And without John Buscema with Marvel, we probably don't have some of those incredible issues that people have such a fond memory for.
Awesome. All right, that's time. I guess you're ending your argument there. Yo, I gotta admit, when I saw your answers, I went, "Holy crap, this is a good one." You know what I'm
I didn't want
saying?
to pick someone obvious,
Yeah.
Really?
and I just wanted to pick someone that was important to even if my guy doesn't win, I want to pick someone that was important to how I got into comics to stay in comics.
Right.
Yeah. So with that said, as you guys are, doing you're making your picks, you guys comment. Yes, we are live. Thank you very much. You can watch the replay. So, Comic Journeys. I heard it's his birthday, by the way. You guys wish him a happy birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Comic Journey. Okay, so with that said, as we're going through and we're waiting for answers, we do already have some picks here. So I don't believe you. So it looks like Comiverse went for Perez for the win. All right. Cliff also went. He said Jim, but he loves Perez, so there was a little bias there. Jim Starley is not given enough love, I think, for his time in the Bronze Age.
I don't think so either. He's another great.
He's another great. I think, but the thing with Jim Starlin is that he was very, he was more an artist in the 70s, I'll say, with the Bronze Age, and in the 80s became more of a writer.
Yeah.
Right. And to be honest, his legacy comes from his writing more so than his artwork, even though his artwork is great. Dread Star, what he did with Iron Man and stuff like that. But man, this guy did some. If there's a best writer of the Copper Age, Starley might win that one just because of that. Right, Brother John? I think there's a little bias there. Just maybe a little.
I don't know that guy. I don't know who he is.
I don't know that guy, right? Right. We also got Frog Brawler says, I'm going with Gary on this one. I agree. Neil Adams is the best choice, but Neil Adams wasn't the choice. But I think, my personal opinion, if I have to pick one, I probably would have gone with Neil Adams because of the body of work and during that time. I'm basing it off, for me personally, I would base it off the body of work, not so much of the art style. Right. Yeah, I gotta go with Crisis on Infinite Earths. Enough set with that one, right? That's just one of those books that you look at it and you're like, oh my goodness.
Now I knew Jim was gonna pick Perez.
Yeah.
And there's no way, and there's Perez is a masterclass all on his own. There's no way I expected anyone I would pick to beat Perez. Yeah. And I'm not upset about that.
I'm going with Gary here. Oh, look at that, Gary. You got another point there.
Thank you, Joseph.
From Joe. Yeah, that's right.
I think they all think you said Neil Adams. And they didn't say Neil Adams. He didn't say that.
At DVH. Sorry, Gary. Jim wins. Perez is king.
Look, I love Perez too. So this is not this is just win-win with all these artists.
I agree. Buscema's only drew comics the Marvel way. I like that one. That's a good pick. That's a good.
That's because his way was the Marvel way. He created the Marvel way.
And he was the founding father. That's why.
Right.
And to CJ's case, Robert Crumb, even though Robert Crumb's not one of these picks, he's definitely a big influence of that Bronze Era, especially for indie guys.
Oh yeah, he is the underground comics king.
Right. Exactly. So with a vote of 4-2, our winner for today, for this second round, is not Gary B, but Digger Jim.
Yeah, I don't think family votes should count though. That Brother John one.
You know what?
Get anywhere I can get it, baby.
Who's coming in next? Your mom? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to text her now, man. I'm getting ready to text her. Mom, get on.
I'll be honest. Last week Roscoe had his whole familia. The entire family was there.
You're playing phone a family member over there.
Yeah. His whole family was there. So, Digger Jim, for that, you are gonna get a Ric Flair woo.
You get a duh. That was the obvious pick to
Nepo. You know what though? I would have got, like, my honest answer was going to be Buscema. If I had to make a pick or do a tiebreaker, I would have gone for Buscema because of what I just said, the body of work.
I think Perez, honestly, without picking on Jim, I think Perez is the king. I think the only one that would have a chance against getting voted for over Perez would be Neil Adams.
Yes.
I think when you're talking comics, those two are the top two.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And anyone that's not that, the only competition for those two is each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason, so my answer wouldn't have been George Perez, even though I like George over Buscemi. I do, but I personally, he falls under my top 3. My favorite will always be Arthur Adams, right? But Perez will be like my number 2 because, you know, a little bias. He's a Puerto Rican from the Bronx. This guy right here, Puerto Rican from the Bronx. Right. And I met George Perez, and he was a darling. He was a darling of a man. Never really had a chance to meet John Buscema. But the reason why I would have picked Buscema over George Perez is what I said earlier. The body of work during that time period. When I think of George Perez, I don't think of Bronze Age. I think of Copper Age. And the reason why I think about Copper Age, Teen Titans,
Right.
Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then later with Infinity Gauntlet and even though his Avengers run was kind of in that Bronze Age time period,
Yeah,
it's
and
not as
Fantastic Four stuff.
Yeah.
Man. I mean,
But it's not.
You're saying Jim cheated.
no.
What was that?
He's just saying that he doesn't believe that
He's a white guy
here.
from Decatur, Illinois. Even though we got Decatur in the corner, but I'm not a white guy from Decatur. I'm a Puerto Rican from the Bronx. And yes, Steve Buscemi is definitely he's worth it. What's up, 3 good nerds? It's been a while. Busting out your mama jokes.
How you
Coming up
doing?
next.
Justin.
So I'm loving it. You both each have a point. Congratulations on that. But before we move on, Digger Jim, what's going on with your neck of woods?
Well, I didn't pay Gary B his check money for tomorrow night, so there'll be no show tomorrow night, or I won't be hosting his show tomorrow night. But I will be dropping on Saturday, hopefully at 1 o'clock. I'm trying to make this an every Saturday at 1 o'clock thing. It's going to be the Can You Dig It comic review. So you'll just have to wait and see what I'm reviewing this weekend. But yeah, I'm going to try to make that a regular Saturday thing right before you sit down and watch some Only Slabs. Take a minute, stop by. I don't try to do long reviews. I like to keep them short and sweet. Either it was good or it wasn't good, at least to me. So yeah, that's what's coming up. I don't know when I'm going to be digging. Yeah, I don't know when it's going to be. I'm going to be digging because it's so bloody hot and the ground is like concrete. So
Yeah.
Now you got like 3 personas, right? You have Digger Jim, Grave Digger Jim, and Trigger Jim.
No.
Trigger
Jim is what is what Cliff calls.
Am I competing? I'm here to watch the 10-1-1 battle. I wasn't competing. I was saying what I would say. The battle was over. You came in late. And of course, CJ's not fully paying attention because Claremont was more bronze than Perez. Yes, in color, in stature, I would say yes. Claremont is definitely more bronze than Perez. But Claremont's, to me, Claremont's also a copper guy, but he's a writer, not an artist. And the question was an artist. Lonely Slabs. All right, guys.
Are we doing that is Remy's on with Lonely Slabs, Jim?
No.
Oh, okay.
Only Slabs this week is going to be Papa Wheelie.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a nice, interesting one. All right, guys. This is the 3rd round. Winning by a landslide. I would say it was about 65% over all the other picks. And the winner for the round 3 community poll was, what is the best non-superhero comic? Now, it originally said story, but your answers ended up being more like comics, which I'm okay with that as well. So, being that we are at a tie, I'm going to have Gary B started off because it starts with Gary B. Right? He started it off, so why not do that? So, this 3rd round is going to be, what is your best non-superhero comic? And Gary B, you kick it off and tell us your pick like it's a surprise.
I know. Well, it's Conan the Barbarian. Wow. A character that's been around in comics for over 50 years now. That's some staying power. He is not a superhero. All right. He is a regular human just at an apex level of what he can be. And what's great about this is there's still the the classic qualities of a hero story wrapped in. Well, you have the dichotomy of it being a low fantasy stories that are being told you all the time. This is not what a group or a person's doing to save the universe. It's low fantasy where it's more personal. He's surviving day to day. He's becoming a leader of the Cossacks. He's doing this. He's becoming king. It's him against nature and everything else in the world that he comes across to survive. And he still has a code of honor and ethics that he will not compromise no matter what he's in the face of. So you still get the hero arc.
All right, good pick, Conan the Barbarian. When you said it, remember what I said real surprise. However, Digger Jim, you got your pick.
I don't know if I can compete with Conan, but I think we might have looked at this a little differently, because when I think about the question, I think about the fact that these are an indie title. And my indie title pick is what I just recently just came out not too long ago, Newburn. And if you guys haven't seen or read the Newburn story by Chip Zdarsky, you are missing out. I sent all of my copies, the entire thing, to Brother John to read, because I felt that strongly that he needed to read it. This could be easily a TV show, or for that matter, an excellent movie. I mean, it's so simple in the fact that here's a police officer that is no longer a police officer in New York City, and he works for the mafia. And I know you're like, well, they've done that before, but this is different. He does it his own way, and he solves their problems so they don't go to war. So he's almost like a peacekeeper still in play.
All right, guys, there you have it. Those are your picks. Woo! We got some classic Conan, but you actually did say Conan from Titan Comics. I remember that was your answer.
Oh no, just Conan in general, all Conan.
Okay,
like all Dark Horse, Titan Comics, Marvel. Mm-hmm. Conan's a pop culture icon. He's always been an alternative to superhero fiction.
All right, so as we say that, the fight now begins. Go for it.
I can't beat Conan. I mean, look, if I wasn't reading the Avengers or Fantastic Four, I was always peeking in to see, really mostly just to see if there was any chesty, busty women in Conan, because my hope was there would be like some naked titties.
Well,
but there never was, because those guys suck.
Conan's got a legacy impact. Newburn may be a great story, but it's going to be a drop in comic book history that probably won't be remembered in 50 years, right? Where Conan will still be around.
But he's a crybeard Conan Chaos of comics.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, you say that, but for all we know, he might come back with a whole nother reason. Like, I'm not going to give away the whole thing, but there's a good chance that Newburn could come back if he wanted to. So, I mean, they could bring a volume 2 in and just redo the whole thing again. But I can't beat Conan. This sucks. I don't think you should be allowed to use Conan. It's in his deep in there. Because I'm telling you right now.
What is going on?
I mean,
Frogman then like if it wasn't Newburn.
I love Newburn. I told you, I sent it to Brother John right away. I was like, dude, you have to read this.
I think Comic Journey summed it up best. What the fuck is a Newburn?
Yeah, but that's because he's uneducated. He doesn't. Who knows what he reads? He's all over the place.
Wow.
I feel like Newburn's a story that just didn't. It's non-superhero, and it got a lot of love.
It's a good thing. So I guess. Oh, look at so we're gonna talk a little bit about the other picks that everybody is saying in the chat. All right, I guess we're gonna wrap this one up. Really simple. Gary, I know it's not much of a debate here, but tell me why Conan one more time.
Because Conan is a pop culture icon that's been around since the 30s in comics for over 50 years, and has always been there as an alternative to superhero fiction, yet still containing hero qualities within its own fiction and universe that people can attach to, admire, and enjoy, as well as being his own person. It's him against whatever the elements are. This isn't high fantasy. It's not a group of characters from Lord of the Rings going against the Eye of Sauron with one ring to rule them all. This is one man against everything else in the world around him, and he still carves out a legacy, becomes king, and rules fairly and justly, and cares for the people around him while maintaining his own code of honor, yet still being a womanizer, a gambler, and a drinker.
Sounds like it's someone that's running for office, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there you have it. Conan is Trump. So now he lost. Digger Jim,
I'm
gonna give you your 50.
I'm still going with New Bern because here's the thing. New Bern would have seen Comic Journey on the street and busted his ass just for being a doofus. He would have known that Journey had like 20 pounds of coke or something in the back of his car and said, "You don't with the mafia. We're going to take your coke and distribute it evenly and put you in jail." That's a good enough reason for me. If you want to read a good story, go see New Bern or go read New Bern. You can't see it, but they should make it. And actually, I think when Drac had Zdarsky on, he had sold the rights for them to make a movie, but then the company that bought it ended up getting bought by another company, and they returned the rights to him so that he could shop it out. So my hope is that they'll still be able to make that a TV show or a movie, because I think it would be phenomenal if it's done well, and they let him help write it.
All right, there you have it. New Bird's going to be a TV series.
Now, just responding to Chaos and Comics, Conan is low fantasy. When I mentioned high fantasy, I mentioned it in reference to Lord of the Rings, which is high fantasy. And high fantasy is a group of individuals with a world-ending threat going against something big for the masses, where low fantasy is about the individual struggle against what's going on in that world and the events around them.
You know what I almost picked, Gary? I almost picked The Walking Dead. Because I bought those I guess what are they, compendiums or whatever. I went to a used bookstore and bought the first 4 of those things because they had them half price, and I didn't put them down until I was done. And I've never,
addictive.
That is not a superhero thing. And that was, but
yeah,
I think that was I almost went that way, but God, man, I really liked New Bern. It was the first indie that I picked that I was like, damn, this has got somebody else needs to read this.
All right, so if you see Comicverse is saying Mouse, one of the greatest stories I ever read. I own a copy of it. I've read it. It is definitely non-superhero. It is the Holocaust. It's a story of the Holocaust where the mice are the Jews and the cats are Nazis, which is an amazing story. It's award winning, so that was definitely a good pick. That someone said. I think some.
I was looking at his comment where he says Crom laughs at your New Bern.
My vote is for Gary Crom. Oh, but look, Chaos, you got to vote. Chaos voted for Digger Jim.
I think Chaos goes either way.
But
at least one person got your check this week, Jim.
Look at that, and CJ saying, "What the F is New Bern?"
See, Jim knew he lost that one when he had to start taking personal shots at people in the chat.
That's right.
The DVH, Conan wins. Conan wins. Gary wins. Oh, look at this one. Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
I've never read that.
Yeah, it's homicidal. Move over, Earthworm Jim. Here comes Digger Jim. I've never put that into perspective, but he's right. All right, Conan for president. Right, and Conan is awesome. Oh, look, we could have picked the Crow. Easily beat Conan. Way more.
I don't
indie.
think Crow would easily beat Conan.
I don't think. Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that.
It depends on the argument. The way I look at it, the way the show works, it depends on the argument. If the argument is
well, and I also never read any of the Crow books. So I'm only arguing what I've read.
What CJ's doing effectively is he's just peppering in other.
He's CJ. What do you expect? It's CJ.
No, he's just opening eyes for other properties that are actually
for you.
Yeah,
I love that.
But to what you were saying, Digger Jim, The Walking Dead definitely is one of the top books that are out there. It changed writing during that time. It was one of the newer modern books
and
that's
I probably should have gone with
huge.
that. I just had more. I don't know. It was Newburn was further. It was in my head more than The Walking Dead was because I read that years back.
Yeah, and look at he's saying it right there. You would have picked Walking Dead over Newburn. I think Newburn it needs its time to start gaining it because it's fairly new.
Yeah.
Right. Even though there was one comment that DVH mentioned that I definitely have to pick out. Where is it? Where are you, DVH? Where is that comment that you put? It's buried here. But DVH had the comment of do a powerbomb. Do a powerbomb is awesome.
Yeah.
So that to me is a great story. You know, it put Daniel Warren Johnson on the map really. Even before his other book that he did, but everybody was talking Murder Falcon. But yeah, look at that. I would have voted for The Crow. So, and The Crow is definitely one of those books. But you know what? There's no denying. Absolutely, it's impossible to say it. But our winner is none other than Gary B for that one. It no brainer.
Give me a hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That it's just it is a no brainer for that one. Newburn reminds me of Newman. Effing Newman. Less we talk about Newburn, the better. So, as of right now, we have Gary B is currently in the lead with 3-2. 3-1. No. What am I saying? 3-1. It's been 3 rounds. 2-1. My apology. 2-1. So, it's still anyone's game. Right now, it's still anyone's game, and this is what I call the best part of the fight, because the reality is it
doesn't matter what your name is,
right? It doesn't matter because now it's the community's chance to put in their question. So what you're gonna do, community, is you're gonna put in your question. If I deem it worthy of the fight, you guys are gonna answer it, and you have to. First person that makes their answer gets their pick. So, for example, I mentioned this earlier in backstage. If someone says, "What's the greatest barbarian?" If Digger Jim said Conan, Gary B has to fight Conan, which I know Gary B doesn't want. So, but we're gonna do 5 questions from the group, and it's gonna be a lightning round type of thing. So we're not gonna be too long on them because I know both of you guys want to take a break, and I too. I've been up all night too, but. Guys, give me your questions, man. Start putting them up in the chat so I can start seeing them. And let's take a look at what's out there. Let me just comb in already.
He loves cold too.
I do. And Sony Kane and Dark Agnes.
Oh, we got one. Oh gosh. All right. All right. So here we go.
Game of
Our
Thrones.
first question, I hate to say it, it's coming from Comic Journey.
Lady Death.
All right, so we got Lady Death versus what was yours, Digger Jim?
He said comic shows.
So what comic shows the best? What comic
the best
shows the best display of scantily clad women?
Yeah, Red Sonja. Come on.
Okay, so we got Red Sonja versus Lady Death. Go ahead, battle it out.
Well, Lady Death has Hell Witch and they're all in lingerie. Red Sonja is a great pick by Digger Jim, but she's a warrior, and she's in her earlier depiction, she's in armor.
She's in armor.
Don't get any other women usually in a Red Sonja story except for Red Sonja, where Lady Death is filled with her boob smashing against other women and fighting.
Ah, I see. Lady Death, Newburn versus Lady Death. I was gonna say Vampirella, but
that Vampirella.
Oh, you said Red Sonja. You said Red Sonja. That's your pick.
I think Red Sonja is still a good pick, but she's not gonna beat Lady
Chaos
Death.
in Comics, Newburn versus Lady Death.
So you're already what's the word?
I'm giving up, man, because
you're giving up on
Lady
this one?
Death was better on that than Red Sonja.
I think
Red Sonja is
right, though,
look, that chainmail bikini was the shizzle. All right.
The chat beat us both, Jim. They picked Vampirella, which I can't believe neither one of us picked.
Yeah, I
yep, that's
pick
what's
that
hard.
I was so focused on Red Sonja.
All right, so since you're giving it up, Lady Death gets the win. So Gary's winning 3-1 now. That was a tough one. All right, so let's bring that down. Our next question is, what would you consider the best Mythic Age story?
Mythic Age?
That's a tough one. Even I can't think of that.
Yeah. I don't even know what that... Mythic Age story? Like Lord of the Rings?
Well,
Lord of the Rings is a Mythic Age story?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that one. Mythic Age. Let's go with Clash of the George R.R. Martin comics, like the Clash of Kings.
okay.
Like Lord
That's
of the
a Mythic
Rings,
Age.
right? I mean, Lord of the Rings and...
So it sounds like Lord of the Rings versus Clash. We can go with that one.
Sure.
Is Lord of the Rings in comics?
I
They
have
got to
say
be
that
somewhere.
There's got to be a Lord of the Ring comic somewhere. I have no idea, to be honest. Just goes to show you how good that book was. Can't beat the written source. All right, so you guys want to go to the next one?
Conan! Yeah. Yeah, go
All
to
right.
another one.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Elf Quest.
Elf Quest does fall under that. So you got to go.
I never read it. Have no idea what it is. I've seen it, but I never read it. But
What about- So you guys want to pass this one for now?
Yeah, pass on that one.
All right.
We need a better one.
I'm gonna give Cliff one, even though it's one versus the other. So you got to pick one or the other. And who is the greatest heroine? Wonder Woman or Carol Danvers?
I'm a Carol Danvers stan, but it's Wonder Woman all day.
Wonder Woman.
There's no greater woman superhero, more recognizable, that means more to it than Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So Gary picked Wonder Woman and Jim.
Yeah.
You got to say Carol Danvers. You got to say, do the fight. That's how this works.
Carol Danvers. She's a pilot. She's an American hero. Blah blah blah. Why am I saying that? You and I both know Wonder Woman's better. Jesus Christ.
Blah 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 dee blah blah. Blah 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 dee blah blah.
I believe that's 4-1 Gary B.
Oh my goodness, this is too much. Jim is like, no, forget it. I'm not even
When
battling.
it comes to female superheroes, it doesn't matter. It's always Wonder Woman's always the top.
She's the OG. She's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Right? Let's be honest. All right. Shattered Glass says favorite comic book side character. Ooh.
It'd be Robin.
Oh, Robin? That's sidekick. But you got to call him side character?
Yeah,
Well, I think
that's
I
the way
think that's
I
the
interpreted
thing.
it. I would actually
It says
say
side character. So I would say supporting cast member in this case.
Yeah,
All right, Alfred.
I would-
All right. We got an Alfred.
an Alfred.
Alfred's the best supporting character in comics.
Come on, Jim. I know you can come up with a good one.
If we're looking at it like that, I thought we were talking about sidekicks. I was going to say like Kid Flash. I think Kid Flash is better than Robin myself, but supporting character Jim Gordon. I don't know. I
Okay,
mean,
Jim Gordon. There you go. You got go for it. Battle it out.
I mean, Jim Gordon. I think he helps Batman more than Alfred did. I think Alfred helped Robin when he gave them $8 billion.
Alfred is Batman's humanity. He helped raise them. He helped keeps them in line. And wherever Batman is morally ambiguous, Alfred's there to set the line straight for him. Whether Batman wants it or not. Alfred is Batman's ultimate guiding source in his life.
Then why did Batman create Failsafe? You know, why, if Alfred did such a good job, how come he has that alternate? I can't even think of the guy's name. Batman's alternate personality that he comes into from time to time.
Batman?
No. It's like, God, I can't think of what it's called. But like when he was fighting Failsafe, it's like he flipped the switch or something and became somebody else. And I can't think of what it's called, but Alfred, I don't know how well Alfred did. I think Alfred tolerated Batman and, picked a paycheck up sometimes and would stitch him up when he needed to and gave him soup when he was sick. But at the end of the day, I think Batman just, once he became an adult, was like, look, I'm doing what I'm doing. And this is it. I think Jim Gordon would have put more influence on him by saying, hey, man, I mean, you're not helping us. You're hurting us. Let's work together to take these guys down.
All right. So those are your arguments, guys. Let me know in the chat. Is it going to be Alfred or is it going to be Jim Gordon? So Digger Jim is picking Jim Gordon.
It sucks because I'm not good at this part. I mean,
This is the hard. This is the hard bad one. You need some points, man. Let's be honest. You need some points here.
Yeah.
We got an Alfred comic versus Alfred. Comic versus picking Alfred so far. So we got one for Alfred. Anybody else? Give me your answer.
It's Alfred. It doesn't matter if you're an indie fan, a Marvel fan, or a DC fan. He is the most enduring side character in comics. You could also go with Jimmy Olsen for Superman.
Yeah.
But
I didn't ever like Jimmy Olsen. I thought he was a pain in the butt. I would go with Rick Jones, but the problem with Rick Jones was I think he always wanted to eventually be powered up in the end.
Now I want to point out that Tyler's just trolling me, and no matter what Jim says, he says Jim won.
Yeah.
It's still a pick. It's still a pick, right? Don't matter, right?
Come on,
but
Tyler,
it looks
that's
like
integrity there, sir.
So it looks like you said, Tyler said Jim wins, but we got multiple votes for Digger Jim, so we got to give Digger Jim the point for this one. So Digger Jim, this is yours. You know what I'm saying? Because
pity one, I appreciate it.
Pity win.
You know what?
Give us one more. Give us one more.
Oh no, you're definitely gonna get one, but I would say.
Yeah.
But you know what? If I had to make my pick, I would probably have picked Jim Gordon over Alfred. I think Alfred is an enabler more in this case, and I think Jim Gordon looks at Batman and says, well, Batman's doing what he's doing to help clean the city.
Yeah.
Where in Alfred's case, he's just enabling his problem, because let's be honest, Batman has a problem. You know what I'm saying? If I look at it from that perspective, so I have to go for it.
CJ, no pity wins. What the fuck?
No pity.
There you go,
but
Jim.
there you go, Digger Gordon.
CJ on here.
There's your participation prize. Way to go.
It's always Rick Jones, Rock Jones. I'm Rick
Jones.
James.
I think he meant Rick Jones.
Rick Jones.
Okay, so we got that one. We got two more questions. I'm gonna leave this one for last because I think it's a fun one. The one that I highlighted. So the next question is best death of character.
Captain Marvel, the original
Captain Marvel. Ooh, that's a good one.
Dying from cancer, dying from a real world human problem.
So Captain Marvel versus who?
Jason Todd.
Captain Marvel.
Oh, Jason Todd. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. I like this one. All right, guys, battle it out.
Well, another phone a friend one, huh? You just have to call in for him to that.
Jason Todd, are you kidding? The first Robin ever to be killed. I mean, and he got killed by the. Come on, how can that not be?
He got killed by a bitch. He got killed by a bitch and beat with a crowbar. Captain Marvel fought to save humanity and ended up getting cancer and dying from cancer.
I don't know.
And
I'm just saying.
And also,
Jason
Captain Marvel didn't come back.
Jason,
well, that's not my fault. That's DC's fault.
He's edgier now because they gave him a red hood.
I'm just saying, that's not my fault. That's DC. Captain Marvel.
I'm no longer dead, and I have a red hood. Will you buy my comics now?
I'm just saying the way he died.
You're gonna let him. You're gonna let him talk to you like that?
Epic. Jason Todd, man, come on.
Right there. Look in the chat. Southern Comic Geek. Jason, thank you. And Captain Marvel staying dead. So I picked the only character that's actually stayed dead. The only other one you could go is what? Uncle Ben?
Uncle Ben.
Yeah, Uncle Ben. But that wasn't an epic. I mean, come on.
Like,
just like I voted to kill Jason Todd, maybe. Yeah, you had the chance. It was the power. You had the choice.
Power of the people.
Power of the people. I just think the way they did it, man, was better.
Well, that was a good answer. Little Red Riding.
Gwen Stacy's another good one, but they did find a way to bring her back through the multiverse.
And now they're making multiple billions of dollars out of her, right?
Right. And though, interestingly enough, even though we have all these multiverses, we haven't had another multiverse Captain Marvel, have we?
Well, Captain Marvel has come back once. There was a moment he came back. Now, he was still in the land of the dead.
Yeah.
But he did come back in Silver Surfer. So he has returned at one point or another.
But that
he
makes
has
sense because in the power they've gone to Death's Realm before with the Silver Surfer. And
Yeah.
Thanos.
So it's to say that he hasn't come back. I will say the only person that actually has remained dead has been Uncle Ben. That old
True.
man ain't coming back.
Except in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, but now that we're mentioning it, you got Uncle Ben. You got, what about the Waynes? No one remembers the Waynes' death. That made Batman.
It's just the typical robbing somebody for their stuff and killing them. I'm just talking about the way Jason Todd died and the fact that he was the first. Actually, I think he was one of the first.
Differ on that one.
I think he was the first Robin with any set of stones, to be honest with you.
All right, guys, let us know who wins this one. Is it going to be Digger Jim with Jason Todd's Robin, or is it going to be Gary with Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel who died of cancer? Ooh, it's a tough one. if I had to hear about Martha.
Exactly, deviate.
I gotta get that soundboard of Martha.
Yeah.
And you got
sorry, that is a really boring story.
It into for the Valiant Universe with Rob.
Yeah, he's saying Ra. Yeah.
All right, and CJ refuses to vote for anybody named Todd, so that's a vote for. So that is a Captain Marvel vote.
All right,
Whatever.
I vote for Izzy. Well, thank you for voting for me, but I'm not you're not voting for me for this one. I vote Gary. Up, so 2 for Gary. I see there.
Well, I had CJ, DVH, and Frog Brawler. I have 3.
You have oh, you do have 3. I see that now. All right, we got 3. Is anybody else gonna vote here? We got 14 people watching. I'll do whatever I want. Pedro.
Vote for Pedro.
Oh, we got Digger Jim gets a vote for Jason Todd. Jim got a vote. Oh, so we need a tiebreaker, guys.
Come on, brother. You know I'm right with Jason Todd.
We need. He's like calling his brother now. Gary for president. So Southern Comic Geek, he's gonna get it, and that gives and that gets the win to Gary for this one. So Gary
came in.
Oh, so we got another one for Jim, and we got another one for Gary. So, but Gary, you win it for 5-4. Gary is the winner. You get a.
He's doing some funny math because he gave us both a point that round.
Yeah, no, it's 5-3. I think if anything, 5-3. Gary wins.
Gary wins. At this point, there's already a winner. We're not going to say it out loud, but there's one more question which I highlighted.
This one's just for funsies. Then
this is this is just for bragging rights. But the question is, what superhero would you team up to fight
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi?
To fight Chuck Norris? Yeah.
Yep. Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi?
I'd go along with that. Or Iron Fist for that, man.
Iron
Fist?
Fist?
Take him out.
No, because if you do Shang-Chi, right, you could just have the whole battle with him and Bruce Lee again.
All right.
Yeah.
So you got Shang-Chi. Gary's has Shang-Chi, and Digger Jim, you have Iron Fist. So go ahead. Start your fight.
I just think Iron Fist, man, I mean, he would come out there with, take one, fire up his fist and just take him out in one punch.
What if you put him against Colleen Wing and she distracts him with boobage?
That doesn't count. Shang-Chi doesn't like women?
No, I'm saying like against Chuck Norris.
Oh, against Chuck Norris.
Against Chuck Norris.
Yeah, for sure.
Wrong. Both good guys don't battle good guy. What darn it?
You guys don't battle good guys.
They always did in the Bronze Age when they first met because they were never smart enough to talk to each other first. It was just let's punch each other until we decide to have a conversation.
Right. Wait a minute. You said you knew this guy? He's okay. I guess you're okay. Yeah.
It's always something that stops it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I I think that's what I was thinking. I was like, it's either Shang-Chi or Iron Fist, and I just like Iron Fist better. Or no, it could be White Tiger, dun dun dun, or the Sons of the Dragon. You could get them out there. All three of them whooping up on Chuck Norris.
Well, your point is going to be Iron Fist, so you're going based on Iron Fist. So,
Sure.
guys, tell me who wins in this final battle. Is it going to be Digger Jim with Iron Fist, or is it going to be Gary B, the casual comic guy, with Shang-Chi? What's your pick, guys? Let's see in the chat.
Or Jim, how about the whole crew from Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo?
I don't know which movie that.
It was by a landslide.
I think it's.
You know what? Next time you guys see Tyler, he might be looking a little worse for wear. Just saying.
We got two there. We got Gary B with one. We got Jim with another one from Frog Brawler.
Somebody posted a clip of Gary of Breaking. I don't know if it was Breaking 2 or 1. I think it was 1. And in the background is as an extra is Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh wow!
I'm not kidding. He's like, yeah, I didn't notice it until the guy said, "See if you can pick out in the background who's the extra." And I started looking. I was like, "Holy crap, that's Jean-Claude!"
Guys. All right. With that being said, our winner of the last and final round is going with Digger Jim with Iron Fist 4-2-1. That's what I got here. But let's be honest, nobody beats Chuck Norris.
Exactly.
That's true.
Nobody beats Chuck Norris.
He just looks at him and goes, "Yeah,
It's
put that thing away."
the reality of it is nobody could beat Chuck Norris. You know what I'm saying? Because he's actually Chinese. Just putting Comic Journey's comments gets me in trouble with YouTube.
You have
Guys,
to have him on there. I want to see who he battles. Journey, you need to come on and battle somebody.
I mentioned it to him. I don't know who's gonna be the guy, but whoever it is, it's gonna be a fun one. I can tell you that much. That's a trick question. Yeah, I agree.
Well,
It was a trick
How about
question.
him and Tony?
But Tony, you think Tony could battle Comic Journey?
Yeah, Tony's got the
You got someone with some
knowledge.
stamina, man.
Tony's got comic book knowledge too.
Look,
He's got a lot of it.
I'm not talking about the stamina. I'm not talking about the knowledge. I'm talking about the stamina to handle it.
I think Tony and CJ would be a good fight.
Oh, wait, Tyler.
Oh, there
is
you go.
putting- I think we got a match. I think we just made a match here.
I would
CJ
love Tyler
would be
to say yes,
interesting.
but we all know Tyler
Versus-
sucks.
Well, we agreed to that. You know,
I
But
think
just
that would be an
because-
interesting battle.
yeah. I don't think I'm on CJ's level. I think we're gonna make this battle happen. I think CJ versus Tyler, and you know what? I don't care who wins because I hate them both.
You know what?
What does Gary win for winning the battle?
Well, we haven't made the announcement, but okay, let's make the announcement here. The winner of tonight's battle is none other than Gary B, the casual comic guy. It was obvious. Gary B won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1, 2, 3. 5 to 3, but it wasn't, it wasn't a landslide, but Gary B, you are tonight's winner. Congratulations.
Oh, thank
$20
you.
million are coming your way.
I
That's it.
couldn't have battled it against a more fun friend to pick things apart with than Jim.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
So
This was fun.
And
There
I
you
can't
go.
wait for the CJ Tyler battle because I'm
We're
going
gonna
to
make it happen.
what he did to me tonight. I'm going to be in that audience and I'm going to vote CJ on everything. I don't care. Idiot's fucking pick in the world. CJ is getting my vote all night.
and with that being said, we must throw this in.
Record. Okay.
Oh my god. Amazing Spider-Man 252 for $6. Oh wait, it's a reprint. Ugh.
You get a reprint.
You get a reprint.
Guys, it was a blast. We went a little over an hour, but I think it was great. You guys had a good time?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Tonight's winner is Gary B, the casual comic guy. So that puts you in the Tournament of Champions. When we get to it, probably do it sometime late in the fall or the winter, there will be a tournament of champion where we're gonna invite all the winners back, and then we'll see what the grand prize. There will be a grand prize. I'll figure this out. There'll be a grand prize for it. But Gary B, Digger Jim, man, you said you were bringing the fight on, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I collapsed. Well, we also agree too much on the same stuff. I mean, I'm like, damn, it's hard to argue when I agree with him.
That's the problem with you and I. We like the same stuff.
Yeah, so that's it.
But that's the fun. That's also the fun part of me.
Things. How's this gonna work?
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta do that. Sometimes you gotta. The best part about these fights is when you have to argue for something that you're not crazy about.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
CJ, I'm gonna need a vote CJ pin from you so I can wear it during the night of your fight. We're gonna have vote CJ pins on.
Oh, I'm going the opposite. If he goes up against Tyler, I'm going with Tyler all the way.
Well, I know.
You going with Tyler?
Because he was licking your ring all night. Of course,
That's
you're going
right.
with his ass.
It's okay. I'm fine with that.
Okay, one last time, guys. Gary B, tell everybody where you can find him.
Oh, okay. You can find me on Gary B, the Casual Comic Guy, on YouTube, also on Instagram, also on Threads, and I don't really use Facebook, but you can just find me there. And as you saw tonight, you know, we just like to have fun. Jim's a great friend. It was weird because I'm like, if I pick this, Jim's gonna pick it. If I pick this, Jim's gonna pick it. I was surprised we had any different answers at all.
Yeah.
But those are the three things you can mainly find me on. Almost another little milestone here, so get those subs in. I appreciate it, and but thank you all for watching, and it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Digger Jim, where can I find you?
You can find me on YouTube, DiggerJim720, and on Instagram. I don't do Facebook anymore other than just a lurk. I am on Threads, but I don't ever post anything on Threads. It just goes over there automatically. I am almost, I think I'm like 3 away from 600. So if you know 3 other people, tell them to sub up because I'm almost 3 away from 600. But yeah, when I'm not digging for comics, I'm usually trying to dig in the ground. So I need to start working on that again. But
and there you go. That would be a good match. Tony brought it up. Him against his buddy Dr.
DVH. Yeah, I definitely have that in mind.
DVH.
Gary's predetermined his vote is really wrong for it.
Hey, don't you have any mods that can mute people like that?
Do I have mods? That's the funny part. I haven't really done it because, of course, when we do these things, we're on StreamYard, so we're not on StreamYard. It becomes a little challenging.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can grab a mod here somewhere. I wouldn't give that to I wouldn't give that to CJ. So that's not. Yeah, you can't give him mod. He'll just start. He'll be grabbing everybody. So I could make him a mod. So let's make Cometverse a mod.
I think DVH would be a good mod too.
Oh no, DVH is definitely going to be one. So DVH, you're gonna get the rights to in a second. I think DVH already one? Looks like he might be. Unless oh no, there it is. There he is. He's a mod.
I'll see you guys if you get a chance. Go back and look at my video I dropped the other day. I got some awesome pickups at a local con here in Frederick. I got this book, $1.
Oh wow, nice get.
Ooh.
Yep. This book, $1. I got some crazy stuff, man. I couldn't believe it. I met a fellow YouTuber, Cool Stuff Collectibles. He does a lot of specking, but he had a booth up there. It was just like everything in that black box on the below the table is $1, and I don't care what's in it. Don't show me. Just pull out what you want, and we'll settle up. And I was like, holy cow! I'm pulling out all these amazing things. So,
all right.
How many expensive books did you put in that bin and then pull them back out for $1?
I know, right?
I know, right? All right, guys, it's been a blast, and like always, we got to say goodbye with a nice thank you. So, thank you.
I think this is it. I think you're about to go home. Okay. Thank you.
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 Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I never said thank you.
And you'll never have to. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I guess I'll see you.
All right, guys. Until next time. Excelsior.